try to solve another Leetcode problem, 284 picking iterator. So for this problem, we are getting an iterator API, and inside the iterator, we can see that it is initiate announce, and it has next and has next method. So has next gonna be a boolean value, and the return type for the next gonna be an integer. So this means we can directly use the API. So the API is iterator. Yeah, and instead of calculating the next and has next, we needed to calculate the peak. Yeah, because for most of the language it has next and it has next, but it didn't have the peak. So we just needed to implement the peak. Yeah, how can we solve that? So from the init, let's just prepare. Let me prepare an iterator. It's gonna be equal to the iterator. Yeah. But the problem comes about the peak. So for the peak, it's gonna return the next element in the array without moving the pointer. It means we cannot use iterator.next. Yeah, because this peak should not move with the pointer. And how can we avoid that? This means we need to store the value from the previous peaked element. So we're gonna store it inside a result. So self.result gonna equal to none from the beginning. Now we're gonna use this peak. So we're gonna check if there is something inside of the self.result. So we're gonna return this element. It's gonna be the self.result. Otherwise, we're gonna update self.result. It's gonna equal to self.iterator with next. Yeah, because we need to have the next element, and then we're gonna return self.result. Yeah, we can write it in this way, or you can write it anything else. But basically, the logic is if we have the self.result, if it is stored somewhere, we're gonna return it. Otherwise, we're gonna find it, and we're gonna return the new peaked element. Yeah. So this is for the peak. Now, what about the next? Because the next element may be stored inside of the self.result, so we need to check if self.result. So we're gonna return self.result. Otherwise, it's gonna be self.iterator next. Yeah. So if it is stored inside the self.result, we're gonna return this value inside the self.result. This is the peaked element before. Yeah. So otherwise, we're gonna use the iterator to check the next. So what about has next? So if self.result exists, so it means it has. We can directly return a true. Yeah, it is just stored inside the peak element. Self.result. It is stored the peaked element. Yeah. So if it has. Otherwise, we're gonna return self.iterator with has next, because we are not sure if it has next or not. This is the basic pattern, but I'm not sure. Let me just run it to check. It didn't work. Yeah, but I think that is okay. Basically, I need some time to debug. Yeah, let's just check. So for the first element, so this is 1, and the peak it is 2. Okay, and the next it's gonna be 2. Yes. And the next it's gonna be 3, but I give 2. Yeah, this means my next method is not okay. Yeah, let's just check one by one. So for the first one, I'm gonna use next. So if I use next, because self.result is a noun, right? Because this self.result is a noun, I'm gonna directly return self.iterator.next. So this means I'm gonna get an element of 1. Right. Now for the next, I'm gonna use peak. Yeah. So if I'm gonna use peak, I'm gonna check the self.result, but as there's nothing inside, so I'm gonna prepare the self.result. It's gonna be the next element, which is gonna be 2. So I'm gonna return this element 2. Currently, there's something inside of the peak. It picked an element of 2. Now I'm gonna check the next. So I'm gonna check this element. If I have this element, so I'll get it. So this means I'll get an element of 2. Yeah. Now what happens for the next? If I get an element of 2, it means if I check the next element, it's gonna be 3. But instead of 3, I get a 2. This means definitely it is wrong. Because from here I checked, oh, this is a self.result. I'm gonna have a self.result. But actually, if I'm going to calculate the next, if from the beginning there's a self.result, I need to make the self.result to none. Yeah, but how can I make it? I'm gonna store self.result in a current and I'm gonna set the self.result to none, and then I'm gonna return this current. Yeah, so this is my current value, and I'm gonna return this 2. So for example, the next it's gonna be 2 from the picked element, but as this has already picked and I used the next method, that means that picked element has been consumed. That is why I will set the self.result to none. Yeah. So if I set it to none, and if I use the next time, as this is none, I'm gonna check this the next element, which is gonna be 3. Yeah. So what about has next? I think this is okay up to now. Let me just run it. Yeah. Now as you can see, it works. Basically because from here there's a bug. Yeah. Now let me just submit it to check if it works. Now as you can see, it works. Yeah. So for such kind of problem, basically it's a design problem. We need to understand how to use the API from the iterator, and then we're gonna try to use this peak method. Yeah, because of this peak, we need to store some value inside of the self.result, and then we're gonna check if we have element inside of the self.result. If it has, we're gonna directly pick it. Otherwise, we're gonna find it. And the difficult part may be the next. So for the next, we're gonna check if there's some element inside of the peak, so we're gonna get it. But before get it, we need to set the picked element to none. Yeah, because if we are going to use the next, it means we're gonna consume this element. That is why we will set the self.result to none. I think that's all about it. Thank you for watching. See you next time.